Hello and welcome. My name is Abbas. This is a brand new show called Has It Aged Well? On this show, we're going to be talking about movies, some movies from my childhood, some movies even before I was born, and basically, we are going to be assessing how well they have aged. Are they still as good and impactful as they were back when they came out? Have they gotten better over the years? And today, when we see them, we appreciate them more? Or have they just gone down the drain and belong to the dustbin because they were a relic of their time? That's what we're going to assess on this show. And in doing so, with me on the show will be my co-host Urjita Vani. Urjita, say hi.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
You want to tell us something about yourself and the show?
I represent the youth over here.
Thank you for age-shaming me in the first 40 seconds.
That's what Abbas had told me while getting me on board. कि you represent the youth. I was like, okay, then I guess. मैं अभी college से जाके आई हूँ. I'm kidding. I'm not that young. But so I'm a stand-up comedian and a writer, and I love Bollywood. I love movies, and that's why I guess I was called to co-host.
Yes. And what's going to happen today on the debut episode of Has It Aged Well, Urjita, is we are going to be talking about this movie which probably came out when you were very, 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 very young. I'm assuming that. I don't know exactly. We'll find out on the episode. It's a film starring this actor called Aamir Khan, another actor called Saif Ali Khan, and another actor called Akshay Khanna. It was called Dil Chahta Hai. And it's considered one of the most landmark movies that came out. I'm just making it shit up now. Obviously, Urjita knows about it. Yeah. So, Dil Chahta Hai is our debut episode. It's the movie that gave me the idea for this show. So, we shall discuss about Dil Chahta Hai with a guest who we will introduce on the other side of this break. So, see you all on the other side of the break.
Hello, everybody. It's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On Shunya One, Sheila Aditya is joined by Sonakshi Nathani, co-founder and CEO of e-commerce platform Bikai. Sonakshi shares how Bikai helps small businesses create their online shops on WhatsApp by building their e-commerce channel. On Cock and Bull, Cyrus Kajol and Abbas talk about McDonald's bringing back nostalgic Happy Meal toys and a Bengaluru tea shop that accepts payment in crypto. On All Things Policy, the Takshashila folk look at issues around moonlighting and analyze what the future of work might look like. On the season finale episode of Don Baika Gappa Aika, Avanti and Aparna discuss the life and issues of child actors who are exposed to the glitz and glamour of showbiz at a young age. And on A Niche Thing, Anish Bhasin talks to fellow IVM host Ashton Doctor. They both share their experiences of intermittent fasting for years, from fasting for 18 hours to 5 days. Guys, go to our website, ivmpodcast.com. You can check out the merch store, also links to all of our social media stuff, which is at IVM Podcast. Also, do check out our YouTube channels. We have a number of channels with many of your favorite shows available as full video podcasts. Finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Volvo XC40 Recharge, Bumble, Heads Up for Tails, and HDFC Mutual Fund. Thank you so much for making this possible.
And we're back. And with me is my co-host Urjita Vani. Urjita, say hi.
नमस्कार देवी और सज्जनों. आप आ रहे हैं कौन बनेगा करोड़पति में. Hello, yes. Hi, my name is Urjita Vani.
Urjita, we're discussing Dil Chahta Hai today. Yes. And we have a guest with us. But you want to play a little quiz game with the guest before we start discussing the movie. So over to you. Tell us what you have in mind.
So basically, every classic movie and non-classic also, उन सब में ऐसे minute details होते हैं जो हम ध्यान नहीं रखते.
Right.
है ना? अगर तुम एकदम क्विंटेसेंशियल मूवी बफ हो जिसने मूवी 50-100 बार देखी है तो ही तुम ये सब चीजें नोट करोगे. तो इसलिए हम यहाँ पे चेक करने वाले हैं कि सोनाली ठक्कर वो क्विंटेसेंशियल मूवी बफ है कि नहीं इन द अग्रेसिव वॉइस.
Sonali Thakker, our guest, comedian, writer. Anything else you want to add to that, Sonali?
Basic yogini. That's what I call myself. Hello, hi.
Basic yogini. Sonali Thakker is our guest. And so go ahead, Urjita. What do you have in mind?
So, first question.
I'm very scared about this contest.
What was Sonali Kulkarni's character's boyfriend's name?
Subodh.
Perfect.
That was the easy one.
That was the easy one.
That was an easy
difficulty
one.
level easy.
Asad Dadarkar. That's his real name. Yes.
Who is Asad Dadarkar in real life? As in, like, Asad Dadarkar, how did he, join the movie's cast?
I think he's Farhan's friend.
Yes, good.
Yes, yeah.
You have
2-1-2.
I grew up in Dadar, so I was very Dadarkar surname. So I was very fascinated
We
by
choose
that.
our guests very well, Urjita.
Yes,
2-1-2.
geographically.
पता चले कि बस ये एक फैक्ट रोड रट्टा मार के आई सोनाली. असद दादरकर काय रे.
IMDb trivia of Dil Chahta Hai.
Okay, question number 2.
3.
Two.
Oh,
Yeah,
that wasn't the
was a
second
follow-up.
question. Oh,
Follow-up.
sorry.
Yeah.
That was a sub question.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, second question. What was the first sketch drawn by Akshay Khanna in the movie?
First sketch drawn by Akshay Khanna in the movie. It was a portrait of a backless woman.
No.
Or Preeti Zinta, one of them.
Yes.
But then portrait of a backless woman was also there, no?
No.
Wasn't a sketch though, Sonali. It was a painting. Is that the
Yeah.
technicality? Yes.
I mean, I was like, he's an artist. He's an artist. Preeti Zinta in the club.
Preeti
yeah.
Zinta,
Yeah, okay.
yes. Correct.
I guess you can give me half a point for it. Yeah.
Third one. Okay. This is a toughie. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, prepared.
So, what's the one thing common between Saif Ali Khan's girlfriend and Deepa?
Oh, they were both in Hip Hip Hooray.
Are you serious?
Whoa.
Oh my god!
Yes.
Holy fuck!
Now that she's proved her credentials.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah, and Deepa's name was Samantha in it. I don't remember Suchitra Pillai's name.
Suchitra
Yeah.
Pillai.
But yeah, I do know. I love that show.
Yeah. So
That's where I know Deepa from. Yeah, every time I used to see Dil Chahta Hai, I was like, I've
Yes.
seen her somewhere, but I
Yes.
can't recall where. She was in Hip Hip Hooray.
Yes.
And Suchitra Pillai was a teacher, if I'm not wrong.
No, Suchitra Pillai was
She was a
also a
teacher.
student?
She was
yeah,
a
she was a teacher. She was like Vinay Pathak's.
Yeah.
Co-teacher who then becomes
Yeah.
pregnant and,
And
it's a
guess what
controversy.
Vinay Pathak's name was in that show? Subodh.
Subodh?
Oh, really?
Oh
Wow.
my god, that I didn't know. But that was a really good question. Hip Hip Hooray one was like spot on.
Trivia.
Yeah.
Nice.
Loved it. Loved it.
Okay, cool. So, guys, I'll tell you why I chose Dil Chahta Hai for this episode, which will probably be our first episode, is because the idea of this show, has it aged well, came from the movie Dil Chahta Hai, okay? We're in 2022. It's been 21 years since Dil Chahta Hai came out. But when I think of the movie, I don't think of the film as old. Okay, but when I wanted to know what a young person like Urjita, when she sees this movie, does she feel it's a dated movie? Because nobody's using cell phones and, young people are not that young really when you look at the screen. And I thought, Sonali, you come from a generation that's close to mine, if I may say so.
Yes,
You're
I'm
also
32.
You're also a millennial.
Yeah.
So it would have been interesting to compare and contrast what a
Yes.
young person thinks and what oldies
Yes,
like
definitely.
us thinks.
Also, I want to say that people were using cell phones. They were just not using smartphones. Because in the hospital,
That's true.
when he's talking, the old Nokia phone is there, where the power off button
Yeah.
is there. So
Nice.
I watched
Cool.
it recently, as
So-
you told me to.
Dil Chahta Hai, Sonali.
Yeah.
First memories, where did you see it? What were you doing in life back then?
I was 12 years old and I watched it in a single screen in Dadar called Chitra. I'd gone with my neighbors. My dad and I watch movies like very regularly with each other, but they had an extra ticket. And she was like, why don't you come? And we watched it and I loved it. I do remember my neighbor loving it more because she was like 18, 19. So it was very aspirational to her कि मैं दोस्तों के साथ गोवा जाऊंगी and everything. And I was like, oh wow, बड़े लोग ये करते हैं. Like, and I'm that बड़ा लोग now.
So
Or
basically,
beyond
उसके सुबोध का नाम क्या है?
that. Nikhil.
Knew it.
But even as a 12-year-old, did you feel like this was something new you were seeing on screen as compared to films you had seen up till that point of time?
Yeah.
Hindi films especially.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think I definitely remember it was like the first cool movie I had ever watched because like the kind of movies I was still releasing along with it were like Jodi Number 1 and like Ye Raaste Hai Pyar Ke. And of course, like there was K3G also in that year. But I think it was definitely like the first cool movie like I had seen. Like a hero was not like a hero.
Right.
Yeah.
Like cool dudes.
And also like around that time, I have watched many movies even though मैं तभी नहीं इतना
That's why you're the co-host of the show.
Yeah, if I was 12, I mean, how old must you be?
Yeah, Urjita, your first memories of Dil Chahta Hai.
So Dil Chahta Hai, when did this movie come out?
2001.
I
10th
was
December.
3
Okay.
at that time. So I've definitely watched it on TV later on
Right,
after I grew
right.
up. But then my dad also, he was a big movie buff. तो हम ही movies देखते थे, but गरीब थे तो TV पे देखते थे. That's the only difference.
Very
But then-
humble podcast.
Yes,
this is.
yeah.
So ये TV पे हमने काफी movies साथ में देखी. दिल चाहता है was one of them.
Right.
So I remember my dad, he used to like relive his college days while watching the movie, and my mom, she went to a girls college and she did not really like have a lot of friends, so she was like, hey, kya bhankas hai. So that was my those are the two memories that are associated with this movie.
Right.
But Dil Chahta Hai, I remember the point I was trying to make was that Dil Chahta के time के around 1995 से लेके 2005 तक there were many Bollywood directors who had tried to adapt मतलब ये सारे Hollywood के movies यहाँ पे इंडिया में, because they were like कि क्या यार बीवी नंबर 1 जोड़ी नंबर 1, exactly what they were thinking, ठीक है. But then क्या हमें मिला? Usual Suspects का remake था Chocolate. Nobody even remembers that movie, but everybody remembers मम्मी को नहीं है पता. It's that. So nobody was quite successful because तुम adapt करने की कोशिश कर रहे हो, पर फिर भी तुम like ए क्या रे ये dialogues डाल रहे हो. So it's not exactly like fitting, but I think the only person who got that like, you know, Western feel in a movie, in a Bollywood movie, was I think Farhan Akhtar, for sure.
Yeah.
Would you? I mean, it was very much first time a look into the lives of how affluent people, especially in Bombay or India, lived, right?
Yeah.
Which was very true to I think what Farhan Akhtar grew up as. So, which is a rich, affluent, not South Bombay, but a Bombay boy. So I was, while doing research for this film, Farhan Akhtar was working in an advertising agency before he made this first film, and he worked as an AD for, guess which film? Do you guys know which film he worked as an AD for?
I know, Himalaya Putra.
Yes. Which was Puru Rajkumar's debut, if I'm not wrong.
And Akshay Khanna's.
Oh, was it Akshay Khanna's?
Yes,
okay, then maybe I'm
Khanna's
confusing the two.
film, yeah.
Yes, so while doing research for this movie, the other films that kept popping up, like when he reached out to Aamir Khan couldn't give him dates because he was shooting for Man. Okay, and Farhan has done AD for Himalaya Putra. Some other films that kept popping up were all films that we feel as they're from a completely different era. But once you get down to it, they're like a year or two apart from Dil Chahta Hai.
Yeah, for sure.
So, firstly, I have to say, yesterday when I started watching movie, the movie is 3 hours, 4 minutes long.
It's really long.
I did not remember it being this long.
So when Urjita said that she's watched it on television, I immediately wanted to ask her, like, how long was the duration when you watched it on TV? Because the ad breaks, like, keep coming, right?
तभी मैं काफी वेली थी. So the concept of time didn't matter.
How much has changed since then, Urjita?
Do you have any vague idea of how old were you for the first time you watched it?
9 or 10.
And did you feel like, oh my god, this movie is different from the other movies I've seen, or was it just like
because उसमें रवीना टंडन का ठुमक नहीं था. So that's why I was like, हाँ इसमें item number नहीं है. That was my first thought.
Right.
This is what my dad told me. Like I asked him yesterday, do you remember? He's like, कि तूने बोला था इसमें item song क्यों नहीं है?
Yeah. But I mean, it's definitely fresh. Like people still talk like that today, you know, like this one scene where they're celebrating Dimple Kapadia's birthday.
Yes.
And she says, thank you so much for coming. And Saif is like, हम cake खाने के लिए कहीं पे भी आ सकते हैं.
Yeah.
Your friends still talk like that. Like, you know.
Like the casual fun humor,
exactly.
like not too intrusive but also not too aloof.
Yeah.
So थोड़ा ऐसे.
So I want to come to that scene a little later on, but since we're discussing it, I'll mention it. It also has this thing where Akash, which is Aamir Khan's character, then asks if the Dimple Kapadia character would like to dance with him. Okay, and they're dancing, and while watching them dancing, Akshay Khanna's character looks at them and realizes that he's probably in love. He's in love with this woman, which was again so new because our Bollywood mind was like, अगर हीरोइन किसी और आदमी के साथ नाचती है तो हीरो बस खड़ा होकर उसको फाइट मार देता है, which is what eventually happens in the third act of this movie also. So there's this little dichotomy or contradiction, whatever you want to call it. But let's start from the beginning. So it's a story of these 3 guys and that kind of friendship, like we were used to the ye dosti hum nahi todenge jodenge the song and the yarana and that type of thing. Do you when I was watching, I think that's the best, that's the camaraderie between these 3 characters and also the 3 actors. You can see that these guys are actually having fun while shooting these scenes. What is your like overall thing about the film about being about friendship? Do you think it still holds true?
It definitely holds true for me. Like I had actually read an interview, I don't know if it was Zoya or Farhan, but one of the Akhtar siblings, where they said that we've seen movies where the movie would start by focusing on the hero और starting के scenes में दोस्त लोग आते हैं और फिर दोस्त लोग किधर जाते हैं. they just disappear. So they, I think, collectively decided to like make a movie on the friends.
Right.
So I felt, and I really liked the whole first half, even though there was like not much happening in terms of, I don't know, I felt
There's
like
no story as such.
Yeah,
There's just little vignettes happening with
they're
them.
going on a trip and all, and I was like, this is so relatable, like 3 people. It's not like one is heavier than the other.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I just like, yeah, I felt like the camaraderie was great.
Right.
So I had read this somewhere, and I had also seen this on some YouTube channel. I'll give you the name later.
Sure.
So apparently these 3 characters, Akash, Sameer and Sid, they are supposed to represent the 3 parts of our subconscious: id,
Okay.
ego and super ego.
Mm.
So I will tell you. So id matlab is the raw part of our brain, which basically just like gets whatever like जो भी अभी चाहिए वो चाहिए. पूरा desire desire focused होता है.
Right.
And Akash is supposed to play that part because Akash is very impulsive. And he's also like कि प्रीति जिंटा दिख गई ये चाहिए मतलब चाहिए. He doesn't think कि इसका fiancé है. He doesn't think all that.
Impulsive.
Yeah, he's very impulsive that way. And that is why you would see him indulging in gluttony all throughout the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, दूसरे जो 2 characters है वो दोनों कभी खाना खाते हुए नहीं दिखाएंगे. But वो पूरे movie में वो खाना खा रहा है थोड़ा. So that is supposed to be like a basically like a something that helps this explanation. And in the other 2 characters mein Saif plays the ego, which is the balancing part, because he literally plays like the balancing part in the dono ka relationships. And this guy Akshay Khanna, he plays the super ego, the moral side of your brain, which thinks about the right and wrong, thinks about the, you know, basically the good things, bad things, वो सब चीज़ें को वे वगैरह करके बोलता है.
So here's the important question. Do you guys think this movie invented the impromptu Goa plan that has now become every friend group's de facto holiday plan?
Oh my God. I will say this, that it was very aspirational, and my first trip with my friends was Goa for sure.
Okay. And you think that subconsciously Dil Chahta had something to do with it?
I mean, yes, definitely. No, there's no question about it. And
Our producer Snehal is vigorously nodding,
And road
proving that
trips-
he also took a road trip for
Yeah.
inspired by Dil Chahta Hai.
but the road trips are like, it's
Which is the other thing, actually, the road trip. I mean,
Yeah.
people going to Goa or seeing Goa in films wasn't new. But the fact that these 3 dudes are traveling in a car having
But
fun.
to be
Yeah.
honest,
Yeah.
Goa was beautiful in general. They only like they showed us कि गोवा भी सुंदर है, जा सकते हो.
हाँ.
I'm not saying that. I'm not giving full credit to दिल चाहता है, because
Okay.
if that is true, then we can also say that उत्तर प्रदेश में क्यों नहीं जा रहे लोग after gangs of Wasipur.
because
So-
that's not how they portrayed it.
Yeah,
I
also
don't
they were not
think-
having
I
fun
don't think
exactly.
it was aspirational कि हम धनबाद जाके मतलब
Yeah.
लोगों को chill out
Like,
करेंगे, bachelor party करेंगे
What
वहाँ
was
पे.
what was Manoj Bajpayee's name in that movie?
Sardar
Khan is not like
Khan.
हमें हर साल एक बार वासेपुर तो आना चाहिए.
तुम्हारा जहाज नजदीक आ गया.
अरे जहाज को गोली मार दी किसी ने. So you did not have a Goa trip influenced by Dil Chahta Hai Urjita?
I did many times.
Oh, you did? Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
My bachelorette was in Goa, dude.
Oh,
Like,
damn.
yeah.
Nice. Cool.
There's one thing I observed though when I rewatched it. I realized that when I had watched it when I was young, younger, like Saif's character was like my favorite character. I didn't quite relate a lot to Akshay Khanna's character
Okay.
because I felt like, I mean, very serious, and as a 12-year-old, who's going to relate to that? But when I rewatched it, I really did relate a lot to Akshay
Same.
Khanna's character.
Same. Yes. So
And-
I've literally had that progression when I first time I saw it as a 14-year-old. I was like, I want to be like Aamir, who's cracking jokes all the time. He's so cool. And then I was like clueless about life. Like I'm kind of like Saif, I'm not sure about anything. And now I'm like, no, Akshay is the one. Sid is the one who knew life.
And I will tell you why so as a child, as a student, school student, I related to Akshay Khanna's character.
Really?
Because I'll tell
Okay.
you why. Because at one point, I was this serious student जो पढ़ाई में focus थी और मेरे around सारे लड़के थे चूतिए जिनको jokes मारने होते थे. So then in my head, I used to feel like I'm better than them, which is why मैं ऐसे उनकी तरफ ऐसे ही दिखती थी जैसे अक्षय खन्ना. tum chuti. So I used to feel like I'm at any point of life, if you feel like you relate a lot to Akshay Khanna's character, it means you're feeling better than the people around you.
And when you've rewatched it, you still relate to the Akshay Khanna character?
No, I sometimes relate to Saif Ali Khan's character because he's like, यार मेरे साथ ही क्यों होता है ऐसा? वो वाला जो feeling होता है ना कि what ये क्या? Like he, for a change, like Saif Ali Khan is playing the dumb lady in the movie.
Right.
So like there is no girl, if you know, other than Deepa, I mean, but there is no girl that which also like can we talk about Deepa?
Yeah, sure. Let's go into that.
I think she's your favorite character, Urjita.
So I'll tell you about Deepa. Okay, very interesting thing. Just think about Deepa and whatever she's doing in the movie. What is she doing? She likes Akash. She's pursuing him crazily.
Yeah.
Don't you feel कि उसने ये सब चीज़ें बॉलीवुड मूवी से ही सीखी है?
Right.
कि अगर कोई हीरो को हीरोइन पसंद है तो उसको स्टॉक करेगा, उसके पीछे पीछे जाएगा, उसके नाम लेगा. तो वो बॉलीवुड हीरो का जो वो देख के बोलते कि अगर इसको हीरोइन मिल रही है तो मुझे क्यों नहीं मिल सकता है? शी इज लिटरली डूइंग एवरीथिंग दैट अ क्विंटेसेंशियल बॉलीवुड हीरो वुड डू, बट in return what does she get? Akash and his friends laughing at her, and then in the end Akshay Khanna, he like politely telling her, you know what, लेन में रहे.
Yeah.
I know उसने अच्छे वे में बोला था. उसने रेत वेत दिखाई दी, ये देख रही हो तुम रेत जैसे फिसल रही है, इसको जितना तुम पकड़ने जाओगे उतना वो छूटती जाएगी.
wasn't paid by Shahrukh Khan or Urjita.
I am saying कि अक्षय खन्ना का कैरेक्टर अगर कबीर सिंह, रांझना ये मूवीज में होता, पहले 15 मिनट में आ जाता तो मूवी उधर ही खत्म हो जाती. आई एम सेइंग अगर तुम एक स्टॉकर लड़की को इतने अच्छे से समझा सकते हो कि स्टॉक करना बुरी बात है, तो लड़कों को
your own friends.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
true.
I always felt like Akshay Khanna had a vibe with Deepa, you know, like the chick he ends up with in the end.
And
She
you
looks
know
so
what?
much like Deepa.
Yeah.
Exactly. For the longest time, I used to think that is Deepa, and on
That's
like
not.
the third or fourth viewing, I was like, no, this is a completely different girl.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, in a regular Hindi film up till that point, Deepa would have purely been played for comic relief. That she would have been the laughing stock. But again, in this film, Farhan Akhtar put that little scene where he has Sid has a heart to heart with that girl. So that was new. What do you think about the hippie storyline where Saif gets mugged? Yes. So this was the first time I saw this happen in a movie, and then it's been repeated in a lot of movies. I don't know if it was new then, but Samir says, I want to stay back. And then when he comes back, they do this thing where he's like, I was hanging out with the girl on the beach, और फिर हम अपने रूम में वापस गए, और फिर जो हुआ उसके बारे में मैं, and then you cut to their clothes on the floor and moaning sounds, and of course the insinuation is they are having sex. But then you see him tied to his bed. That was the first time I saw that happen.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that was definitely the first
And it
time
was in
I
a
saw
theater and I was watching it with my parents. I'm like, what is happening? And I was relieved when I was like, okay, he's tied up, guys. He's getting robbed. They're not actually
tied
having
up
sex.
and getting robbed.
Yes.
Not what you think.
Yeah.
We mentioned Zoya Akhtar at some point, who, by the way, is the casting, did the casting for the film.
Yeah, she's also an AD, I think.
She was also an AD, and the second AD was Reema Katti, who
Katti,
of course now has made her own films.
Yeah.
So are you guys ready for the first major take I have about this movie?
Sure.
Something that really makes this film stand out from films of that time, and I think even till today.
Okay.
I think it's the portrayal of the parents. Up till that time, all the parents we had seen in Hindi films were always against whatever the kids were doing. Okay,
Right.
कि नहीं ये नहीं हो सकता, तुम इनसे प्यार नहीं कर सकते. A bit of that is in this movie as well.
Yeah.
But more often than not, the parents we see are very supportive of their children. You can see that they love their children and they support them in whatever they do. So what do you guys think? I mean, they were close to what our parents were like. कि हाँ ये हर time हम पे गुस्सा नहीं है. Like they also have conversations with us. They also ask us questions about our future and all of that.
Yeah. I obviously saw that and I realized that that is what cool parents are.
Right.
Because I definitely didn't have that equation with my dad, where if I tell him that if I start crying on the phone, my dad will just be like, work hard, beta, work hard. What are you doing? Don't give up at all. But that is definitely an equation I do have with my mother.
Right.
So that was really refreshing for me to see. They were not one-dimensional, and even the arranged marriage, the way it was brought up, like, dekh lo tum kaise ja rahe ho. At least have a look.
Yeah.
Akshay Khanna's mother's reaction was pretty like, yeah, I guess, in the in the most
Yeah, we'll
conventional
come
way
to that.
possible.
I think she was okay with it because she's like cancer report देख ली मैंने कई बार नहीं कर लो लफड़ा अगले 3 महीने तक.
No, but there's that scene where the first time Tara comes to Sid's house, and just before opening the door, she's saying कि आज फलाना की anniversary है, तुम नहीं आओगे तो बहुत बुरा लगेगा. And then when she sees him, she's like तो मैं निकलूं, and he's like तुम आओगे ना, and he's like मैं वहाँ बहुत बोर होता हूँ.
Yes.
And she's like ठीक है मत आना, वैसे भी तुम बहुत कम जगह है जहाँ तुम बोर नहीं होते हो.
Yeah.
And she says that to Dimple Kapadia also.
Yes.
कि ये बहुत कम जगह है जहाँ पे बोर नहीं होता.
Yeah.
And I think in that, just that one dialogue, she just said that okay, I understand he likes you. I am letting you to enjoy.
Also, she was supportive of him as an artist. So
Yeah.
that was really like, you know, you still grew at that time. It was like your parents, there was so much chatter around your parents. Arts to nahi lena,
Yeah,
matlab,
yeah.
like.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool. Like the fact that he was an artist and all that was so like encouraged by the mother, which
But
is something
also,
I had not
also
seen.
because in my head I'm sorry I couldn't help but think supportive है क्योंकि साला बैंड्रा में सी व्यू अपार्टमेंट है रेंट कर लेगा तो भी अमीर रहेगा इसलिए इतनी सपोर्टिव है.
So that's exactly, I was reading the interview of the art director of the film,
Yeah.
who said precisely that while designing the houses of these 3 boys,
Yeah.
when she came to Sid's house,
Yeah.
she thought of Sid as this very rich South Bombay boy who is well to do. So
Yeah.
even if he doesn't have a day job, uske khane ke लाले नहीं होंगे. Like,
Yeah.
which is why he can afford to do art
Yeah.
and do art paintings. And I remember she said about Saif's character Sameer. So Sameer is a Sindhi in the film.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
which is why she said, which is why the living room is kind of loud and
Yes,
garish,
yes.
and his room is kind of subdued because he's a new.
like minimalistic. Yeah, I remember.
Because the living rooms तो parents ने design किया होगा, so it's like kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
loud and all
Also
that.
like उसका room थोड़ा subdued था because केसी कॉलेज का हो गया. That's why.
The college they show
All
in
of
the
them
end
are in the
is,
same college, and it's Wilson
Wilson,
College.
yeah,
Wilson,
at the
yeah,
end. Even though Farhan was from, I forgot
The
what.
HR?
I think so.
Yeah, I
was
think he
from
went to
HR,
HR.
yeah. And Akash is supposed to be the richest of them all, so.
That's why he has that huge television.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was my takeaway from his room.
like a wide flat screen where flat screens were when flat screens were not a thing
Yeah.
already. मतलब आज
For
भी
sure.
मुझे कोई वो टीवी देगा तो मैं बोलूँगा हाँ, it's a good TV. It doesn't look
Yeah.
old.
And his dad has offices in Australia and everything.
Yes.
So,
And what a
yeah,
view
for
he
sure.
gave him in
Yeah.
Australia.
Yeah.
But another point, the people, the actors in this film are very unapologetic. Not actors, the characters are very unapologetically wealthy.
Like I feel like he made a movie that was true to his ecosystem that he
Right.
grew up in. That's the
Right.
reality he knows.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I also read an interview where he said that even if I'm making a movie on an upper middle class, or you know, as people often criticize his movies, rich people problems.
Right.
I'm still not making like building a set where like there are 2 staircases going from either side to the second level. You know,
Right,
like
yeah.
that's not relatable to me. So, like even the houses that I saw that they made, like the production and everything, I think these are homes you like.
Can find.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like a K3G home, I know
Yeah.
I will never see something like
Right,
that in my
right,
life.
yeah.
But like a Sid's room or something,
Yeah.
that is something maybe you've seen in your friend's room or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. कि रायचंद महल में आप हेलीकॉप्टर से नहीं आओगे.
Exactly.
But you will take a road trip in a Mercedes with your rich friend.
Mercedes पता नहीं, लेकिन Zoom कार में तो जा ही सकते हो.
Maruti 800.
Yeah.
So I really found it interesting that some characters, okay, if you like read about them, like Subodh on paper, he sounds like such a perfect boyfriend.
Yeah, I mean, the last time I saw it, I'm like, you know what? Subodh wasn't that bad,
He was
guys.
a
He had his
nice
shit in
guy.
place.
He was a nice guy who
was a nice
remembered,
guy.
dude, all the. अगर मेरा बॉयफ्रेंड ऐसा करेगा भाई मैं आज शादी कर अभी कर इट्स लाइक उसको हर एक डिटेल याद है. ठीक है, थोड़ा मतलब उल्लू है अभी, ठीक है मतलब. तो बट ऑल्सो नॉट टू फॉरगेट दैट वी आर ऑल्सो लाइक इंट्रोड्यूस टू दिस कैरेक्टर फ्रॉम सैफ अली खान्स पर्सपेक्टिव.
Correct,
yeah.
तो क्या पता वो ऐसे कूल डूड होगा, ऋतिक रोशन जैसा दिखता होगा, बट जस्ट बिकॉज इट इज हिज पर्सपेक्टिव तो थोड़ा लल्लू दिखा है वो, यू नो ये जैकेट वैकेट में ब्लेजर पहन के आया है.
Yeah.
तो ही इज लाइक अ प्रॉपर सिम्प सोनाली कुलकर्णी का.
Yes, I agree. I
इतने
agree.
साल हो गए तो भी लाइक याद है, रोज एक बलून दे रहा है उसको, रोज एक बलून दे रहा है, ऐसा. It's such a great thing. He's a proper simp.
But you don't want to be like, I feel like they try to also portray that he's so predictable. You know कि Sunday को Saturday को मैं नहीं आ सकता क्योंकि सुबह 5 बजे योगा के लिए उठना, which I very relate at 32.
Yeah, which exactly in your 30s and 40s you want that.
I really do relate to it. Like when he said that I have to get up in the morning and go to the beach house, I'm like, wow, what a perfect Sunday he has. But I feel like at that age group, like even as a 12-year-old when I was watching it, and then you hear the comment where he said like ek heart balloon. I was just like, oh, slight chomu vibes too. Like, so yeah, I get it, dude. Or सामने Saif Ali Khan ho with his witty one-liners. Why not?
Yeah.
Do you think Sonali Kulkarni's character in this universe then eventually went back to Subodh after being with Sameer a few years?
Because not to forget, Saif Ali Khan is also the kind of guy who would say आज पूजा कल कोई दूजा. मतलब ये आकाश ने बोला था.
हाँ.
But then it was for him कि तेरा आज पूजा. And also how he falls in love with Sonali Kulkarni.
Yeah.
He was ready. He was prepared to reject her. But the moment she says कि I don't want you, he was like, oh, now I want you. हाँ अभी चाहिए तो मुझे. Hello, arranged marriage, bring it on.
I feel like Saif's first GF, you know, Suchitra Pillai and Asad Dadarkar, Subodh's character,
Should get
great
together.
match.
Ooh.
They are a great match.
Farhan Akhtar, if you're listening to this spin-off series right now.
I think that's why he finds him cringe. Because he's exactly the kind of guy his girlfriend wanted him to be.
Exactly, yeah.
Now it makes
We
sense.
figured it out.
Yeah.
Do you think this is a question that is now being popped up in friend circles? Do you think the film is very male-centric? Like it's very... So the Suchitra Pillai character also, we don't see her point of view of why she's always pissed with Sameer. We only see when Akash says ke kya kar raha yaar, to usne teri mardangi ko lalkara yaar, mard ban. And
So first of all, it's a 3-hour movie. So to add her POV would be like, I mean, too much. But yeah, that arc I felt was thoda like Pyar Ka Panchnama types.
Right.
Yeah.
But then again, there was also an Ayyub Khan's character, which I don't have a problem with because he has a very punchable face. I feel. But
Can we fast forward a little to that? Because in the end, especially this time around when I was watching Dil Chahta Hai, I felt like Preeti Zinta's character, she gave up the physically abusive guy to choose the emotionally abusive guy.
I agree. Oh my God. Like she just went from one spectrum of toxic
Masculinity.
to like another spectrum. Yeah.
Which is also so true because I don't know, but this is also what I've seen. Like this is a pattern that I've seen in other people that I have seen who date other people, mostly girls. कि तुम ये होता है कि like if you are into toxic people, you will eventually end up dating toxic people only.
Right.
So which is also makes sense because like Preeti Zinta अगर एक toxic लड़का छोड़ेगी तो suddenly उसको कोई गदाधारी भीम नहीं मिलेगा. उसको भी पसंद टॉक्सिक टाइप थोड़ा सिमिलर ट्रेट्स होते ही है ना तुम्हारे पार्टनर्स में तो आई फील लाइक देन इट मेक्स सेंस बिकॉज इट्स नॉट अबाउट द टॉक्सिसिटी इट्स अबाउट द अग्रेशन एंड ऑल्सो द पार्ट वेयर द गाय टेक्स चार्ज शी इज यूज्ड टू द गाय टेकिंग चार्ज एवरी टाइम
so
damsel in distress vibes.
The scene before the last time they're having dinner in Sydney before leaving India, there is that scene where Akash says के मैं लकी था कि तुमने मुझे मुक्का मारा because अगर मैं उस जगह होता मैं उसे जान से मार देता. And then they cut to Preeti Zinta's face and I'm like, is she turned on or is she like angry right now? What is happening?
She's like तू मुझे अभी मार दे तुम भरो मेरी माँ इसके खून से.
Yeah, I think so. I think she was like fully turned.
Like
even like he said that for her only.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not अगर वो अकेले में बोलता तो फोड़ देता सच में उसको. He knew that.
Almost made me feel like Ayyub was like what the fuck is this guy doing?
I thought I was violent.
Cut to Preeti Zinta and Aamir Khan roaming as lovers और आमिर खान तू देखेगा तो मैं जान से मार दूंगा. नहीं कि भाई मैंने OTP मांगा यार. Come on.
He transforms into Aamir Khan from Ghulam suddenly.
Yeah.
I honestly like even Preeti Zinta's full arc with the whole Ayyub Khan and Aamir Khan thing.
Does she have an arc?
you're like having lunch and then you're taking for the opera and then you're like, tell me who you saw, and then on one hand you're telling your fiance that we're just friends. Like it's that classic meme, the guy she told you not to worry about and you end up. So I was like, you're also egging him, like just break up with him. What's your problem?
True. Well, but she,
ऐसे नहीं हो
again,
सकता
that
ना. There's a
Hindi
reason
film,
why she can't break
she
up.
owes his family.
So
her,
उसका
her
भी
रिश्ता.
सीन होता है कि see if you are stuck in the relationship that you can't get out of, but मन तो मन होता है ना, तो किसी पे भी आ जाता है.
वो भी है,
She
correct.
was emotionally cheating. That is true. And the thing is, we don't realize it ना. वो time पे तो अभी हमें
There's no concept of emotional cheating and all. Yeah. Also,
So-
this is like a trope I've seen in 2 movies. Like even in Dil Chahta Hai, Madhuri is like saying yes to like Akshay Kumar because his parents have like
Right.
raised her, and she
falls
feels
in love.
compelled.
Yeah,
And like
yeah,
this
yeah.
is also, I'm like, did Preeti Zinta's foster parents not see Dil Chahta Hai? Like why didn't they like think like maybe we were providers for her and she felt compelled to like say yes to our son?
Yeah. So what I really liked about the movie was Akshay Khanna's love story. The way he fell in love with Dimple Kapadia. I swear to God, I haven't seen something like that ever. I haven't even read something so pure. Like to me, when I watched that, I was like, okay, this is what love feels like. Because
And
it's
why
like,
is that?
because वो दोनों ऐसे in no way this is the conventional love story.
Right.
अक्षय खन्ना ना वो एकदम हीरो हीरालाल दिखता है और ना डिम्पल कपाडिया is not even his age.
Right.
She's older than him. So
Yeah.
basically they have nothing to like fall for. Love at first sight वाला कोई angle है ही नहीं उनमें. So and the minute details कि जैसे अक्षय खन्ना never had to like say it out loud. ना उनको music add करनी ला 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 कुछ नहीं. But फिर भी how did we come to know that he's in love with her? The minute details, like for example Dimple Kapadia, when she was, remember how she was smashing all the plates and everything कि जब भी वो cancel करती है ना उसकी उसका पति cancel करता है.
Pati's voice played by Raj Zucchi, who has a special thanks in the end credits.
Yeah. So तभी she just mentions it कि while saying कि this date, my birth date, तभी उसने ये किया था. So the point of that dialogue was that कि जो हुआ था वो, okay, cut to her actual birth date, and then he just comes up. He's like, happy birthday. And she's like, तुम्हें कैसे पता है? And he's like, आपने कभी बताया था. And when I watched it the second time, that is when I remembered. Oh, he remembered. So he listens. That was really attractive to me. Ki, oh fuck, he was actually listening, and that is how the viewer comes to know that he's in love with her, because like he genuinely cares about her.
Right. So I have a question. How old are these 3 guys supposed to be? They're supposed to be in their 20s, correct? Early 20s?
25, 26.
Yeah, I
think.
feel like
Just out of
25.
college?
Yeah, like
And-
20. Yeah, 25.
And how old is Dimple Kapadia supposed to be?
40, I think. She has a
Probably.
grown up, no?
Yeah, she has an 11-year-old daughter. I
11
think.
Because at
yeah.
multiple points, I think Sid is being told कि वो तुमसे 13-14 साल में, उम्र में बड़ी है. So which means she's in her early to
40s.
mid 40s, right?
Yeah.
So so the whole conflict of the film hinges on the fact that Sid has fallen for an older girl.
Yeah.
And
While
he
Saif Ali Khan was married to Amrita Singh. Yeah.
Which
and
also
he has the
reminds
line
me-
saying मुझे इन मामलों के बारे में ज़्यादा पता नहीं है.
And also it reminds me, Dimple Kapadia convinced Saif Ali Khan to do the movie.
Oh really?
Dimple Kapadia. I thought
Yeah.
I read an interview that Aamir convinced like Saif to like do the
Dimple
movie.
Kapadia convinced. So Saif had a problem with some part of the movie, and I'm guessing it must be this
I know
part.
Farhan had a crush on Dimple Kapadia since
Yes,
Bobby,
yeah,
which is why he
yeah.
approached her.
Yeah.
But do you think that does the film overplay this a little bit? Do you think since 2001 till today, अगर कोई 20-25 साल का लड़का अगर 45 साल की औरत के साथ उसको प्यार हो जाता है, that it will not be such a big deal in the circles that are portrayed in the film? Or do you think we still the same?
I mean, back then you can understand why they
Right.
harped so much on
Right.
it, because it was not seen before. It was an
Yeah.
anomaly that back then.
Yeah.
And to even portray it in a movie was like so never done before. And even today, like, I mean, Priyanka Chopra, Nick Jonas is like a topic of discussion on
Correct.
so many Reddit threads.
Arjun
you
Kapoor,
know.
Malaika, and also
And we have grown past it, but our parents' gen has not gone past it at all.
Right.
And also, I think the best way to judge this is if to see ki, suppose if you, Abbas, if you are out to see girls.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, very
And
much. So far, so good.
So your friends, if they are suggesting you girls who are 10 years older, that most likely it won't happen, but it will
Right.
happen for us.
Right.
People suggesting us boys who are
Yes.
10 years older than
Exactly.
us. So that is how we know if it is normalized or not.
But so then, would you be offended by that if one of your female friends, Sonali, tells you, I think there's this guy who's in his 40s. I think he's good for you.
No, I will be very offended.
Especially since I know her friends.
In 5 is where I draw the line, okay?
But do you think, I mean, I don't know why, but जब मैंने अभी recently film देखी, that escalation of them, the three friends being very pally with each other.
Yeah.
And then Akash just making that one reference, thinking that, oh, he was just going to use her for sex. And
Yeah.
you're using her for quote-unquote experience.
Yeah.
And then Sid, but then I guess that's the point where you said Sid has just realized that he loves this woman.
Yeah.
But there are two things I think which were very convenient. One is we never see the daughter. And the second is to kill off the Tara character at the end. Because it's like, प्रॉब्लम को हमने रैप करके साइड में भेज दिया.
Yeah, it's
If
like
they-
प्यार करो. I think they should have shown
Yeah.
their relationship. वो तुम शादी करो या कुछ करो.
I think that's where the difference might be if the film was made today. I think a Zoya or a Farhan would probably find another way out rather than
Yeah.
So
kill her off.
I feel like the arc that would change today would be like how the friends take it, how they react to the relationship would
Okay.
definitely be a lot different.
Yeah.
And I do remember reading somewhere that there was a scene between Dimple and Akshay that they had to chop off because of the length. So maybe if that kept that scene, it would have.
And also, I'm
That's
guessing they might have wanted to like keep the relationship intact, but then they might have thought otherwise. कि what if the public doesn't accept this part?
That's also true, yes.
इसलिए
ये तो मैंने सोचा ही नहीं.
Yeah.
कि public मतलब उनको दिखाना ऐसा हो सकता है, but also कि अरे भूजा कुछ नहीं मर गई.
Yeah.
So it maybe happened like that कि ऐसा हो सकता है, but ठीक है, end में young वाली ढूंढता है, चुप ना रोना बंद करे. It just felt like that.
Yeah, he locks eyes with some chick in the fields in Goa. So
And
uska
I
bhi
don't
love story
understand, like,
end ho
has he
jata hai.
brought her along or is he, because she's right there
She's just
next to.
walking randomly
Yeah.
like in the field.
So many people feel she looks like Dimple Kapadia. So
Oh,
basically,
how many
yes,
people
that's
can she look like? She looks like
yeah.
Deepa
That's
also.
also
She
true.
looks
Like a
like
young,
Tara also.
young Dimple Kapadia.
Yeah, so maybe it's like
yeah.
उसका
Wow.
type ये है. तो वैसा है. So Farhan Akhtar, you know how this movie, I think you must know this, how this movie was made. Farhan Akhtar was 25 years old. He was not doing anything. एक दो उसने मूवीज में असिस्ट किया था, but then he was
हिमालय
not
पुत्र.
हिमालय
As we
पुत्र.
discussed.
Yeah. तो हिमालय, I think उसके बाद से उसका मन चला गया था असिस्ट करने से. तो then he was just sitting at home, he was just watching movies all day long, and then his parents told him कि life में कुछ कर. So basically similar to
The Akash conversation.
Akash
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah.
So they asked him to actually make a film, and
But
then
it's
he was
very
like,
hard for me to imagine Javed Akhtar being so serious, asking, बरखुरदार कुछ सोचा है अपनी जिंदगी के बारे में.
So and then he made this movie. So basically he had written many stories about his life. He had compiled all of them in a book.
Yeah.
And Dil Chahta Hai is like a mashup of all those stories.
Yeah.
So he parts of his personality are basically have basically inspired all the three characters.
Right.
But he has himself like gone on to say कि like मेरा जो personality है, I relate a lot with Akash, because Akash का जो life,
Right.
especially the career arc, that was majorly inspired by Farhan's own career arc.
Yeah, and how he was always like cynical about like other people's love lives, which is a
Yeah.
trait that has come from Akash. But I also read like a lot of interviews and I saw like behind the scenes making of the movie.
Wow, you did your research.
But I actually love getting into the
Right.
technicalities of
Right.
movie making and stuff. So
As an award show writer, I'm sure.
exactly, right? It's a veteran in that. Like a lot of people spoke about how this was the first, like, you know how usually you shoot a film and then you do the dubbing, right? So this
Right.
was the first film that
yeah,
was
yeah.
shot in like sync
sound. Yes, yes, yes.
And I heard all the actors talk to each other that these are like the scenes, like the improv that we've come up in, some lines that we've come up
Yeah.
on stage. It's really hard to reinvent that when you're dubbing.
Yeah.
So that was one very different thing
Yeah.
that they did.
And apparently the scene where Akash is putting ice on his this thing, swollen
Yes,
eye.
yeah.
The line where Akash says कि बर्फ खत्म हो गई है, मैं फ्रिज से लेके आता हूँ, was a improvised
Yeah.
line. So
Yeah.
he goes off screen and he
Yeah.
comes back. Yeah.
And that they were all like, this was the first film where there was a schedule made and they followed the schedule to the T and everything was planned.
Yeah.
And they were like, wow, what schedule? we have a script and we know what time we're waking up and what time we're wrapping up. That's insane.
Yeah.
Director हमें गालियाँ नहीं दे रहा. ये क्या है?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that was definitely something different. And about the story, like there's one of their friends called Qasim Jagmagya,
Yes.
who had actually narrated Akash's love story.
Yes.
And then he had written like Goa Diaries, Farhan, and then they mishmashed it
Mishmashed
and
the two of
made
them.
it.
Yes.
So yeah, that's my
Yeah.
trivia for
Yeah.
the movie.
So 2001 again, special year because Lagan and Dil Chahta Hai were two films which were recorded in sync sound, which was the
Yeah.
first time it was happening in India. Also,
I think they did this because Aamir Khan was not available for dubbing.
it might be, yes.
Pretty sure, I'm sure.
Yeah.
He's like, guys, मुझे Oscars जाना है.
The first draft of the script Farhan wrote was entirely in English. And Aamir
yeah.
Khan was very adamant that he make it in English, but Farhan was like, no, I will write it in Hindi, and I
Yeah.
think he did a very good job. So some random observations that I had while watching the film. The scene right after when Sameer goes to, right after the fight they have when Sameer goes to Akash's house to manao him. He's listening to Desert Rose by Sting. And there's a scene later on where Ayyub Khan's character is talking to Preeti Zinta in Australia, and he's also listening to a Sting song. So either Farhan Akhtar was a very big Sting fan, or he's trying to make an equation between the toxic masculinity. के लोग एक ही गाना सुनते हैं.
एक ही लड़की पसंद है और एक ही गाना सुनते हैं.
But they are on the same spectrum.
Yes,
Kind of, yeah,
exactly.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
At one point, Sid's mother says कि यही problem है तुम्हारी generation का, सब कुछ चलता है.
Yeah. Dimple Kapadia says this. Dimple Kapadia says this to Akshay Khanna कि यही problem है तुम्हारे generation की.
Oh,
कि तुम्हें
really?
लगता है कि सब कुछ चलता है. And I was like, wow.
Oh, yes, maybe, yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Arjun Bhasin has done the costumes for this film.
Yes.
Arjun Bhasin then went on to do some really phenomenal work. He did Monsoon Wedding. Miss Marvel, the Marvel show that debuted this year, he's done the costumes for that.
Wow,
He
that's
did,
insane.
did I say Reluctant Fundamentalist?
No,
he
you
did
did
Reluctant Fundamentalist. He's also done costumes for a Hollywood production called A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, starring Tom Hanks. So yeah, pretty influential. And the costumes still look good. Like there's nothing.
I love the clothes. I absolutely love the clothes. Like when I mean, it was so refreshing to just see them dressed normally, and like, you know, even the hair that they had done. Everybody had like there was gel for the first time that I'd seen in actors. It wasn't like hairspray and
Right.
tight. And I really liked Preeti Zinta's hair too, like curly hair, and it was great. Like,
And also I think this was I think the first time that curly hair वाली heroine villain नहीं है.
I know, right? वरना हमेशा like from मैंने प्यार किया and everything curly hair तो मतलब vamp. No, but I must say, like, Divya Bharati and Madhuri Dixit all their lives had curly hair.
That
in
was
movies.
wavy, not curly, no?
No, in Hum Aapke Hain Kaun, like, Madhuri Dixit has like full on like thick,
No,
chunky.
Can we
was
change the
wavy.
subject
Sorry,
as
guys.
someone who has
Sorry.
no hair?
Sorry, sorry. I was
I'm
just
sorry,
like,
Abbas.
That's okay.
I
I just-
apologize.
I'll let it pass.
So this guy, the stylist of Dil Chahta Hai, he
Yeah.
also did Miss Marvel, no? And Farhan
Yeah.
Akhtar is also there in Miss
Oh,
Marvel.
yeah.
So do you think they had a moment in the show, during the show, where Farhan Akhtar is like, क्या कर रहे हो? थोड़ा Dil Chahta Hai वाला magic.
Another piece of trivia I found out was, you guys remember the Breathless music video Shankar Mahadevan?
Yeah.
Yes.
Koi jo mila tha na,
Yeah,
was
yeah.
directed by Zoya Akhtar.
Yes.
I did not know this. Did you know this?
Yeah, I did know this.
Okay.
Yeah, I love Zoya
Nice.
Akhtar and Farhan interviews. I keep watching them over and over again.
Same.
Yeah.
Another fact, I'll just add कि you know how Shankar Mahadevan he came up with Dil Chahta Hai. So उसका आधा जो ट्रैक था ना, दिल चाहता है, and उसके आगे उनको कुछ समझ में नहीं आता how do we link इसके आगे. So which is why there is a beat की ting 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 ting.
Right.
Because they're like ting ting में क्या करे? That was supposed to be like a placeholder, but
Yeah.
they couldn't
Okay.
come up with anything.
Yeah.
Which is why they kept, and ये idea इसको brush करते हुए आया था शंकर महादेवन को.
Oh, all the
And-
great ideas are all related to the bathroom for some reason.
Yeah, so brush करते हुए इसको ये आइडिया आया था. एंड फॉर कल हो ना हो, वो जो ट्यून था कल हो ना हो, वो भी जावेद अख्तर को नहाते हुए आया था. So
Man, I want to visit their bathrooms.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like, I'll come up with a new bit over there. But like their music, was very refreshing.
Yeah, so
I
apparently
really loved
they
it.
composed the entire soundtrack. Again, I don't know how true this is, in 3 days.
In 3 days.
Is what they say.
Yeah.
And apparently a music company discarded taking the music on because they said they all sound like ad jingles. And also I think somewhere when Farhan did the first rushes of the film, this was also feedback he got that it looks like an ad.
Yeah.
Which reminds me now that I think of it, Sonali, back then our ads used to look more posh than our movies.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
And
they had
Yeah.
more, like, you would retain them, like, you
Yeah.
know, like you would remember them over and over again. But I really love the music. Like, you know, the part of the movie that is shot in Australia, right? They've used this Australian instrument called didgeridoo
yes.
in the music. And I was like,
जाने क्या लोग
and that's-
जाने क्यों लोग
I've
प्यार
seen
करते
one
हैं.
Australian comic use it on stage, and then the other time I've seen it in Dil Chahta Hai. Like, that's it. Like, that's it. And I was like,
Okay.
wow.
Talking about ad jingles,
Yeah.
do you think that the reason why they got so much feedback about the songs sounding like ad jingles, do you think that is why they purposely added an ad jingle in Zindagi Na Milegi
Oh my
Dobara?
diamond biscuit. I'm just thinking about that.
They're like, "Bhai, this is what an ad jingle sounds like." ठीक है? It's like they were breaking the fourth and then saying कि "ए ad jingle नहीं है."
Maybe it was rejected song from Dil Chahta Hai.
Speaking of the music, I think the background music is also really very good. There's that little bass wala thing that plays whenever Akash is thinking of some kind of mischief. There is their friendship theme which is played on an acoustic guitar,
Yeah.
which is plays in the opening credits. Also really beautiful. Anything else you want to add about the music? I think the music still slaps. It's like
I
all
love the
those songs
music.
are great.
I love the music.
Shankar Mahadevan said one seal of approval he felt that the music is hit is he went to some very hip club in Worli which never played Bollywood, but they played Koi Kahe Kehta Rahe.
I just want
He
to
was
say
like,
that
yes.
every club plays Bollywood after
I
12
know.
o'clock. Every club
वो
plays.
अभी ना
yeah.
because अभी के
Yeah.
songs होते भी अच्छे
No, but
चुराए हुए.
I mean,
But like-
I'm quite older than you, Urjita. But I
You
feel
were
like
12. I'm assuming
And
you
you
were
were
not
3.
going to club.
Oh yeah, back then, correct,
Yeah,
correct.
so back
correct,
then, I
correct.
mean, come on, तुम club में ये थोड़ा ना
Correct.
बचोगे
Yeah, yeah,
मेरी
for sure.
रातों की नींदें
Agreed,
उड़ा.
agreed. Yeah. What is that song?
I think you haven't heard this is from Sarfarosh. So this song, sorry, just random trivia. This is the only song that did not have a punchline. क्योंकि I'll tell you, मेरी रातों की नींदें उड़ा दे कि मैं तेरी दुल्हन बन जाऊं. They don't have any lyric after that, so they just sing.
But she said everything she had to say.
They don't have any.
I think Shankar, just like Shankar Mahadevan, he couldn't think of anything.
That is the punchline.
There's a
Sorry.
songwriting masterclass
Yeah.
by Urjita Wani.
There was a massive setup, but where was the payoff?
Lastly, guys, how well do you think Aamir Khan's soul patch has aged? Do you still see guys walking around with that
What is
soul
it
patch?
called? Is it a soul,
soul
patch, or a
patch.
goatee? Like,
Goatee is, I think, this.
oh, I thought that's so.
It's, I mean, there's a producer in our office called Saurabh who still sports that thing, and that's how I came to know it's called a soul patch, because our boss Amit was like, that's called a soul patch.
Oh.
But yeah, goatee is slightly longer. I
So,
think.
Okay.
Not to be confused with the other meaning.
another trivia. दिल चाहता है के टाइम पे ये लोग कौन बनेगा करोड़पति में गए थे.
Yes.
एंड तभी उधर अमिताभ ने आमिर खान को सेम सवाल पूछा था कि आपने ये दाढ़ी ऐसी अधूरी क्यों शेव की है. एंड आमिर खान वाज कि ओ सर मैं बताता हूँ आपको क्या होता है ना कि ऐसी रखने से ना कूल भी लगता है और ऐसे हाथ में कुछ करने नहीं हो तो टाइम पास भी हो जाता है.
My mother used to say कि लगता है कि ठुड्डी पे मक्खी बैठी हुई है.
What's a ठुड्डी?
Chin.
Okay.
Yes.
Uh,
Slightly longer ठुड्डा.
I don't think it's held up well. I don't think so. I don't think. No.
No, you wouldn't
No.
go for a
No,
guy with
no.
that look anymore.
No. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the clean shaven look. So
Wow, okay.
I'm a big fan of the beard. I love beards.
चुपती नहीं है क्या?
बिल्कुल नहीं.
Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, Sonali,
Yeah.
on a rewatchability scale of 1 to 10, 10 being extremely rewatchable, you don't feel the time pass at all while watching it, and 1 being like, oh my god, this is just from a different era altogether.
Yeah.
How much would you rate Dil Chahta Hai?
It's very rewatchable. Like, it's 10, I would say.
10?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
It is 10 rewatchable, but also I have tried showing this movie to two of my friends who have never
how
seen
old
it before.
How old were they?
We were in college, so around 18, 19. None of them liked it.
Oh,
They were
really?
like,
they didn't like it?
Yeah, they were like, okay, it is believable कि ये अभी के ज़माने में बनाई है. So मतलब it has aged well, but it's like interesting नहीं है.
Yeah, I feel like if somebody's never watched it, I don't know how much they will enjoy it. But for
Yeah.
someone who like
Who has watched it,
yeah,
we'll enjoy.
we
Yeah.
will enjoy
Again, I
it.
think so much of this movie was absorbed into Bollywood that it just became a de facto thing. So
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
something new for them. They've seen this
Yeah.
kind of friendship
Exactly.
being
Yeah,
portrayed on
exactly.
screen.
It's not like they've not seen like three friends talk like how we talk to
That's
each other.
what.
Like
So-
they've seen Zoya Akhtar films too.
Exactly.
Which
yes.
is also why I did not enjoy Fight Club when I watched it as an adult. Because I was like, I predicted it. Because हमने वैसे movies देखे हैं.
the Brad
Dude,
Pitt,
my
Edward Norton fight club.
Yeah.
Oh.
My first short film was about that only.
Because I was thinking about the Hindi
Even
fight
I
club.
was-
I was
See, Urjita, after breaking down a Surfarosh song, item song, you can't just go directly to David Fincher.
Yeah, exactly.
Fight Club.
I was like, हाँ वो आशीष चौधरी वाली पिक्चर अच्छी है तो नहीं मतलब why she's
No.
And you predicted it? Okay. Urjita, your rating on a rewatchability scale
10,
1 to
10,
10?
yeah.
10 really?
Yeah.
You know what? I would say 9 because I think the last hour is a bit of a drag. The whole
Oh my God,
Preeti
yeah.
Zinta, Aamir Khan
I did want to
opera.
talk about that.
Yeah. Please do.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the second half was like, it was too much focus on the love story, which I feel like, and the ending, while I get it, like it was very new for that time, I feel like it was quite a drag.
Yeah.
The love story part of it,
Yeah.
he could have like dealt with it differently, and I would have liked to see a little bit of,
Maturity.
not maturity also, but like a little bit of more of like Akshay Khanna's love story
Yeah.
to a little
Yeah.
bit of
Like
in
I
the
said,
mix.
it's too convenient to just
Kill
forget,
her off,
kill her
yeah.
off.
Yeah.
Also, the marriage scene, the Mangni scene where he goes to confess his love is very cliche Bollywood of that time. के पंजाबी गाने बज रहे हैं and he just shows up.
So another trivia, तो वो
Yeah.
वहाँ पे जब भी उसको वो लाइन बोलता है कि मैं मुझे लगता है कि मैं तुम्हारे लिए बना और तुम भी मेरे लिए बनी हो, वो उसने ironically lines बोली थी कोई
Yeah,
कहे
yeah,
कहता रहेगा टाइम के क्या बोल दो
Yeah,
उसको मैं
yeah,
कि
yeah.
मैं तुम वही exactly
Yeah.
those lines. So वही
Yeah.
वो repeat करता है.
Yeah.
I like that full circle,
Yeah.
but I felt like thoda, matlab, it was too much of the love story. Second half was quite a drag, and the first half was being like all the school anti-old Bollywood, and then the second half kind of fell into that trope
Yeah.
of it. So I didn't enjoy that. But I want to talk about my favorite scene from the
Yeah.
movie. You know, in Australia when they've spent the whole day together, Akash and Preeti Zinta's character, and
What
then
was her character's name? Nandini? Nalini?
Naina?
Shalini.
Shalini.
Naina. Because these are very like Preeti Zinta names.
नैना नहीं हो सकता because उसने
Yeah.
चश्मा नहीं पहना है.
Correct, exactly.
Which is what she was called in Kal Ho Na Ho. I
Yeah,
think.
Kal Ho
of
Na
course.
Ho.
So, go ahead.
So when they take the train and they go in the train and she is on the platform,
Yes.
and then that homeless person is coming towards her and like she's like all scared, and then you see Akash's character coming from behind, and then there's this whole build up where he like walks towards him. And I really liked how in this movie they didn't go with the macho angle where he stares him down and scares him away, but he goes and hugs the
Yeah.
homeless guy and says,
Yeah.
"Did she scare you?" And like even now I like really laugh at that because that was a very
Yeah.
different way.
Yeah.
Of
Because
doing
it just showed that he was mature enough to know कि the guy was already scared by Aamir Khan's presence, so he doesn't need to beat him up and
Yeah,
all.
exactly.
So that was, I think, really nice.
Just two last funny things we I forgot to mention. So Preeti Zinta was very aware of the fact that Shalini doesn't have much to do in the film
Yeah.
because she once complained to Farhan saying after the film was released and it was a big hit that people come up to me and compliment me about my hairstyle.
Yeah.
And she said this is what happens when you don't give your heroine more than 14 lines. And so Aamir was not 100% on board with the look, the whole goatee haircut look. So they went to Juice in Kolaba, got
Yeah.
the haircut. Then they went to dinner at Taj,
Yeah.
where Aamir went to the washroom and a couple of people identified him, complimented him on his new look.
Yeah.
Oh.
And Aamir came back and told Farhan, you planted those people, right? So yeah, but
Yeah.
fun times. Dil Chahta Hai still very much relevant.
For sure.
I want to wrap up with saying, guys, if you had to cast Akash, Sameer and Sid amongst the three of us, who would be who?
I would be Subodh.
You see,
I'm a simp. I would be Subodh.
one heart balloon.
Yeah.
To that scene where Subodh is meeting Sameer and he pulls that chair on the lady.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a good gag.
That is, I
That is
love
hilarious.
it till date. It's so funny.
Yeah.
And then like the waiter is saying sorry and the husband like, why are you saying sorry? he should say sorry. I love it.
That's a hilarious
Yeah.
gag, yes.
But I would
Farhan
be Saif
Akhtar used to
Ali
be
Khan.
good.
Yeah.
You'd be Saif.
Yeah.
I also took you
Same.
for Sameer.
All three of us are
All
Saifs.
three of us are
Yeah,
Saifs?
that would be just 3 too many Saifs.
You're the only one who's married on this panel, Sonali. Does that make a difference?
I mean,
Does that make you more of a Sid? You want to settle down?
Sid, no.
Is that sexist of me to say that?
No, I didn't even think
Okay,
of it
cool.
like that. I was just thinking about his character traits.
Your
like-
ये line
immediate
cut कर देना.
explanation.
Okay, I want to wrap up by recommending a piece by Ankur Pathak that's written for the publication 52 about the making of Dil Chahta Hai. We'll put the link in the episode description. With that, we've come to the end of the show. Sonali, anything you want to plug? Where can people find you on social media? Please let us know.
I am on Instagram at Sonali Thakker. So that's THAKKER. You can find me there.
Hashtag
Cool.
basic yogini.
Yes, that is my hashtag.
Urjita, where can one follow you?
At the rate Urjita Vani. And follow me on Instagram. Don't follow me back home. Thank you.
And I'm at Abbas Momin on Twitter and Abbas Momin88 on Instagram. Until the next time, we will see you with a brand new movie and judge whether it has aged well or not. Thank you so much, guys, for
Thank you
being
so much
on the
for
show.
having me.
And with that, we've come to the end. Bye-bye.